Hello, everyone, and welcome to Take 5, where we're just taking 5 minutes a day and walking through some words from the Epistle of James that we think applies really appropriately to our life right now. And so right now we're continuing just in James chapter 1. I'm going to start in verse 19 and might get all the way to verse 21. The theme so far in this letter to people who are dispersed, not able to be in fellowship with one another, the theme has been trials. And he's been very clear in the first half of this first chapter that trials can have value. Imagine that. Trials can have value, and the responses that we have can help us develop character and perseverance and all those other good qualities. And we've been saying, I think appropriately, that in fact, the more we look at the lives that we live today, as frustrating as it can be, and we all know how frustrating it is, we're all tired of COVID and the restrictions and our masks and all this stuff. We're all tired of that. And yet, believing in a sovereign God, perhaps even in these days, even in these trials, they might have value. God could be doing some very good things even in these days. From verse 19 on, we're going to be looking at some very specific proper responses that James wants us to have. And we're going to see eventually, I'm not sure if we'll get it in this 5 minutes, the responses there's an emphasis on the scriptures and on reading and hearing the scriptures, because they are the key to our character. They're our key to the proper response. But listen how he starts. So verse 19 says this way, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person," so that's everyone that's hearing this letter, "let every person," here's 3 responses, and you've heard this perhaps a lot, and we've seen this not being applied very well in these days. "Know this, my beloved brethren, let every person, 1, be quick to hear, 2, be slow to speak, 3, be slow to anger." Be quick to hear. Listen better. Boy, if there's anything that we ought to improve on in these days, is to listen better. Be quick to hear. Whether it's your child who is being frustrated because of life right now, listen to them. Or maybe in your marriage, the tensions that are rising because of all of the pandemic restrictions, they're huge. Listen to one another. Spend just some time listening. Be quick to hear. Listen better. I would even say on your social media, I've backed way off just because it was not a source of maturity or growth for me. It was driving me nuts. But if you're still on social media, be quick to hear. Listen to what people are saying. And then the second one, be slow to speak. Don't immediately type an angry response. Don't immediately forward something that's going to get them. Every time you want to put something out there, whether on social media or just with your voice, stop and think, is this the right thing to say? Is this the kind thing to say? Slow to speak. Listen better. Quick to hear. Slow to speak. Use fewer words. Let's all just use fewer words. The wise person listens better. Here's something Robert Frost, you know that poet probably. I just came across this, that it's kind of prickly, but listen to it. I think it applies. "Half the world is composed of people who have something to say and can't, and the other half who have nothing to say and keep on saying it." Composed of people who have something to say and can't. We all know people like that. And the other half who have nothing to say and just keep on saying it. We know people like that. Maybe it's you and me. Decide not to. Let every person be quick to hear, listen better, slow to speak, use fewer words, use thoughtful words, and then thirdly, slow to anger. Stay calm, slow to anger. The anger ceiling is so low and people are getting mad all the time. Slow to anger. What if we let this time, these trials, make us not bitter? There's so many bitter people out there. Let's make these trials not make us bitter, but make us better. We're going to continue James' words next time on Take 5. I'll see you tomorrow.